If we go to the next slide, I just wanted to, as I sort of mentioned earlier, what fixed income means to an advisor. As you can see in slide 15, I highlight what a corporate capital structure is and a financial institution capital structure. Essentially, the capital structures are basically, your first loss piece or the loss that that investors take is in the equity piece. And they're your ordinary shares that investors hold through the ASX listed exchange or unlisted shares that they hold, and they're the most risky. That's the most risky part of the capital structure. But advisors can, when we've sat in front of advisors and they're now experienced advisors, they can classify anything from hybrid to covered bonds in the financial institution space, and from hybrid convertibles to senior secured debt in the corporate space as fixed income. And and I think providers of investment services such as Mason Stevens need to adapt and align themselves to advisors such that hybrids does have an exposure within, if advisors do classify hybrids as fixed income, that those investment service providers within fixed income do provide and adapt and align themselves and provide an exposure to hybrids such that advisors' clients do get exposures right up and down the capital structure of both a corporate and financial institution. I just quickly wanted to go through what type of bonds there are in the markets. There are fixed rate bonds, and fixed rate bonds have a defined maturity date as well as paying a fixed percentage coupon. These bonds basically, for example, if you've got a 5-year bond that pays a 5% coupon on a semi-annual rate, every 6 months you get a 2.5% annualised coupon, basically hitting your account, or should hit your account if you have a beneficial ownership in that bond. A floating rate note basically neutralises duration in the interest rate duration, and effectively you basically move away from having exposure into interest rates, because essentially what a floating rate note does, it basically plays a floating rate coupon that's linked to a floating rate such as a bank bill swap rate or BBSW. You can invest in inflation-linked securities either through a capital index bond or index annuity bond. And these are quite important securities in terms of an investment portfolio, because essentially it gives you an inflation immunisation through that portfolio, and which is quite important in the sense of, especially now, where the markets or economists are talking about inflation becoming hitting our shores through Trump winning and Trump being a very expansionary type president and wanting to spend. Inflation could be in the headlines and probably remain in the headlines over the next 6, 12, 18, 24 months. Finally, fixed income also encompasses asset-backed securities, and these include things such as residential mortgage-backed securities. And some people, some investors want exposure to real estate. You can either do that through REITs or owning property directly. You can also get that exposure through investing in asset-backed securities, and you can define the risk that you want to invest in anywhere from, because asset-backed securities are issued different tranches, anywhere from very secure senior secured tranches right down to first loss equity tranches. So there's a good that's a good way of basically risk profiling your property profile or your property investments if you want to get access to the property file without going directly into that space.